Now that you've successfully installed your BOQ application, let's have a quick look at the functions available to you. This is the home screen. This is the active project and all the information we have about the active project. All of your projects will build here. The example project is loaded. We go into the build production module and we can see here that we have a traditional bill of quantity layout. We can move the columns around, we can size the columns, we can turn on or off particular columns of information that we need to see. So here we are with our bill of quantities. We can see that we have a very traditional hierarchical layout. This is SMM7. So groundwork starts 1, in situ concrete starts 1, 2, 3, 4, until we get to a measured item. How do we know it's a measured item? Because it has a unit of measure. We have lots of ways of editing the text. We can add extra rows, we can copy rows, we can paste rows, we can repeat rows. So lots of ways of creating extra text or extra information in our bill of quantities. We can edit anything we've got here. Doesn't matter what we put, we can just edit that text. We've got an undo option, so we can just undo back through that extra information that we've created. So we're going back to where we were with our bill of quantities. So text, we're bringing it, we're adding text in using the context menu or some of the major functions across the top here. In my notes column, I've put a couple of reminders of things. So down here, the 0 quantity warning, we have a little red alarm bell here because that quantity is 0. So if we change that quantity, we can just enter a quantity into there and the warning has gone away. My note stays there because it's just a note for me. If we go up here and look at dimensions, we've got something that says we've got 56 cube. And if we look here, we've got dimensions in a traditional way, timesing in column, 2 times 2, length, width, depth, because it's a cube, a total, some annotation, 55.97 becomes 56. This one with my notes is a direct quantity, and we've already seen we've added a direct quantity in that way, so we know where that came from. It's just 20. Because it's 20 times 1 times 1, we know that it was entered directly into the net quantity column. So when we do 50, again we get the warning, but here we now have 50, 1 times 1. If we want to stop the warning, let's go over here, turn off the confirmation, and now we'll not get the warnings anymore. We'll just type that information in. So we're building a very traditional, call it a cost plan, call it a budget, call it a schedule, call it whatever you will. That's what we're producing here using descriptions, quantities, and maybe rates. If we go up to here, we've got a number of reports for bill production. So we could look at a very traditional bill as quantities report, just as a blank to send to the client. So BQ3, there's our bill, very traditional layout. The levels here we can see for the different sections of the bill. We also have the opportunity to create some Excel builds, so you can see the different options, Excel or PDF information. So we're creating our bills as we go. If we go back to the home screen, if we want to create a totally new estimate, there's lots of attributes we can keep here. I'm just going to call it new estimate. It's loaded. I'm going to go back to bill production. So now I've got a different job. So I've got nothing in the grid here for the bill. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use item templates. I'm going to use the job that we used before, so the example project, but this time I'm going to use it as a template. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the transfer information here. So when I bring it across, I'm not bringing the quantities and I'm not bringing the rates. I'm using as very much as a library. I might just turn off a couple of these columns here because I've got a bit more room and I can. So double click, measure the item. It's got no quantity, so at this point we can just start to put the quantities in. Some people prefer to bring in full sections themselves, so let's do this one here and we'll do all below. So what that's done now, it's gone from in situ concrete all the way to the bottom, because that's the only level 1. So we've brought all those items in. They're all 0 quants, so we're ready to start measuring. So we're using information that we've already created in previous jobs. We're using that as the template or the beginnings of any other job. So anything else we've put in, we can use ourselves, even down to the fact that when we import files, we can pick EBQ CITE files, we can pick Excel files, or we can pick any other job that is a meter to Sakura file. So let's pick a quick bill of quants here in Excel. So we're mapping the files. So item comes from B, description comes from column C, quantity E, etc., etc. Populate the grid. And now what we're doing is we have a template ready to use, but that template is now based on an Excel bill of quantities or a CITE file that we've imported from previous work or other sources.